Great song. What a great, oh, I love that for Townes. Okay, so let's get the vitals out of the way. What's the name on your birth certificate?
Blaze Foley.
Oh, it is not.
It's George William Ensle II.
George William Ensle II.
Yeah.
And where were you born?
In Houston.
In Houston, okay. Tell us a little bit about your music education. Did you have formal, or how did you learn music?
Well, my father was a professional musician, but it was back in the 30s before I was born, up in Syracuse, New York, and he played what's known as the Borscht Belt, the Jewish Rockies, all the resorts up and down in the Catskill Mountains, and he played a lot of college dance marathons, and he played some speakeasies and whatnot. He played woodwinds. He played clarinets and saxophones and flute. But by the time I was born in Houston, he moved down there with the family, and he had pretty much hung it up, but he had instruments laying around the house that us kids would pick up and play around with. But my first introduction, I picked up the saxophone in junior high. In 6th grade, alto sax. And I played in the marching band and in the orchestra, and learned how to read music. And then at 13, I got my first guitar. So at 14, I started taking guitar lessons. And the guy that I took guitar lessons from, Darrell Harris, he was the one that introduced me to the whole folk scene.
Darrell camps with us.
Yeah?
Yeah, Can't Bite Me.
That's right, that's right.
Yep. Darrell's a great,
But he was teaching me classical guitar, and if I did the study and went home and practiced and learned the piece, then the next lesson he'd show me a folk song. So that was the carrot that he dangled me. Taught me how to finger pick.
That's great.
And play folk music, and then I started writing songs when I was probably about 16.
So it sounds like that your father probably did have an artistic or musical influence in your life, but you kind of took it on your own direction.
Yeah, and he played classical music. Back then we had what they call hi-fi, high fidelity, before stereo, and he had a speaker that was about half as big as that curtain there, and he put it on full blast, and so I got introduced to the classics as well.
Yeah. Well, for some of us, our first fans and often our first critics are our parents and our family. So I'm just kind of curious. Did your parents, were they pleased?
They're very supportive, yeah.
Yeah. And so do they have a favorite George Ensle song?
Oh, gosh, I don't know. The one that, that's a good question. They both passed away, but I don't know. That's a good question. They were pretty supportive of everything I did,
Did you ever write a song about them?
Yeah, I wrote one for both of them, actually.
Would you mind playing one of those?
No, I don't mind. Let's see. We'll do the one I wrote for my dad. I wrote two for him, actually, but this one. I wrote after he passed away. It took me 5 years to write this song. For those of you who are interested in the creative process, I had the what I call the laundry list. I had all these ideas, that I wanted to touch on, and the way I describe songwriting is it's a lot of times it's like this big hopper where you put all these ideas in, but it needs to be wound up down here through the distilling process and editing process, and the creative process. So it took me 5 years before I actually, and I set it aside for a while. I didn't work on it constantly for 5 years. But I actually went to a workshop that Steve Seskin and Alan Shamblin, the only songwriting workshop I ever went to, they were hosting it. And the reason I went to it was because I wanted to meet the men that wrote Don't Laugh at Me. And after I went to that workshop, I got some insight and went home and finished the song. Here's me standing up at bat in my first Little League game. Before I lost it when I struck out, dropped my head in shame. But on that long ride home, you said I didn't really lose, because I went down swinging and made no excuse. Here's me standing on your shoulders, working up the nerve to dive off into the deep end. Tears welling up inside, but I made it when you told me those words every child should know. You said I might turn you loose, but I'll never let you go. Saving me, you've been saving me in this album by your bed, filled with pictures of me growing up and the ways that I've been blessed with your little words of wisdom for my little cries for help that saved me from a scary world and saved me from myself. Here's you running along beside me on my first two-wheel bike, trying to steer me straight like you've done all my life. You said it's not about the falling down, it's the climbing back on. It's not how far you've yet to go, it's how far you've already gone. Sometimes we let each other down, but when all was said and done, we stood by one another when they snapped that shutter. Forever, the Father and the Son. Now, I know you might not understand all I'm saying in this song, or why you're in your second childhood, or why you're in this nursing home. I guess our roles are changing. Now I'm taking care of you, and the pictures in this scrapbook filled with timeless truth, and I'll be saving you in this album by my bed. And I'll hold on so now you can let go and know you've done your best. And I'll pray for words of wisdom for your little cries for help, to save you from a scary world, save you from yourself.